Good evening and welcome to the Midnight Bible Study, where I deliver unordained theology, typically in a state of sleep deprivation and exhaustion. Tonight, I'll be discussing the taking of oath taking, which is, well, let's find out what the Bible has to say about taking oaths. Starting in Matthew 5:33. By the way, before we get into this, who is this even relevant to? Because not everybody is going around swearing, making oaths and swearing they're going to do this or that. However, a lot of people are. For example, police officers, government workers, military, the Mafia, gang members. There's a lot of people who are out there taking oaths, and they ought to at least know what they're signing up for when they do it. So this is actually relevant to a heck of a lot more people than they even realize, whether they're Freemasons or gang members or Mafia or judges, whatever, you name it. We need to be careful about taking oaths. Because in Matthew 5:37, it says, again, you have heard that it was said to people long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill the vows you have made. But I tell you, do not swear at all. So this is coming from Jesus. Do not swear at all. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond that comes from the evil one. So these organizations are setting us up to do something that the Bible says not to do. If nothing else, it's concerning, and people wonder why there's so much corruption in government. Well, if the very first act that we take is doing something that Jesus in the Bible tells us not to do, that's concerning, because then inevitably we're put in positions where we take these vows to do things, and then once we're in the job, supposedly doing the job, then they tell us they can't do the job that we've made an oath that we're going to do. For example, well, I'll give you some examples. But if you've got a politician swearing that he's going to uphold the Constitution, and then we find out there's a two-tier justice system and other things going on which are going against the Constitution, well, that's not good, especially if they're being blackmailed to do these things. So again. Yeah, you've heard. All right. So the Mosaic Law forbade irreverent oaths, the light use of the words. We don't want to be using the words name lightly in vain, or in vain at all. And broken vows are not good according to Mosaic Law. Once the Lord's name was invoked, this is the key point, the vow to which it attached became a debt that had to be paid to the Lord. This was not taken lightly at all. It was taken literally. In other words, you don't just go, forget about it. No, that's not the way it works. It was, if you vowed it, then you were going to do it. That's why Jesus is saying, don't. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything else comes from the evil one. I'm going to show you an example in just a sec where you're going to be shocked at what it means to take an oath. If one does not swear at all, however, one does not swear falsely. Therefore, don't do it, because you don't want to set yourself up for regret. Where does all this come from? The third commandment says, thou shalt not take the Lord of your God in vain. It forbids perjury, forswearing, the violation of oaths and vows. So you're actually breaking a commandment if you violate an oath or a vow. That's not good. In swearing, we appeal to greater knowledge. Literally, in swearing, we appeal to a higher court. A higher court. We're actually swearing. Oh, I swear to God, or whatever you say. You're making an oath to a higher court, and then it's expected that your word is good. Now, let me tell you, to give you an example of how extreme this is and how serious this is a story of Jephthah found in Judges in chapter 11 and 12 in the Bible. Well, Jephthah he was a judge. He presided over Israel for 6 years, and he led the Israelites into battle against Ammon, and in exchange for defeating the Ammonites, he made a vow to sacrifice whatever would come out of the door of his house first when he returned home. So when he got the victory after he had made this vow, and when he returned home, his little daughter comes out, happy to see the father. She was the first one to come out of the house. And Jephthah immediately regretted that he had made that oath, because he had made the oath, give me victory against the Ammonites, and I will sacrifice whoever first comes out of the door of my house. And who, of course, his beloved daughter is the first one to come out. And so guess what? Jephthah did what he said. He made the oath. There was no other option for him. He sacrificed his daughter to God. Now, is that what God wanted? I don't think so. God said, don't do it. God said, don't do it. But he did it. So, that's the main point of that story is just to show two things. One, don't take oaths. That's what the Bible says. And if you have taken an oath, then you're expected to make good on it. So don't do it. Now, let's take a look at some of the problems with taking oaths involved. Let's say the Mafia. You join the Mafia, you're going to take an oath. But there's other people like federal employees, senators, judges, political appointees, president and vice president. They're all taking oaths. And we know these fields are they're rife with corruption. And again, if your first thing you do is take an oath, which is, the Bible says don't do that, that's not a good start. I don't know if there's any connection to the fact that they're full of corruption. I'm not sure. It's a dilemma. It's a dilemma because that's what part of the job is, taking the oath. The Idaho police take an oath to protect people in their community, to uphold the highest standards. Well, okay. If they're going to take the oath, then at least they better uphold the highest ethical standards and protect the people. So it goes like this: I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of the state of Idaho, and I will faithfully discharge the duties according to the best of my ability. So each justice or judge in the United States takes an oath. I do solemnly swear, and I will administer justice without respect to persons and equal right to the poor and the rich. Now, right there, you got to go, well, wait a minute. We're hearing constantly about a two-tiered justice system. So it's one thing to take the oath. It's another thing to break it. Because, again, if you take the oath, you're appealing to a higher court. You're swearing you're going to do this, and you're going to be held accountable. The Freemasons take a vote. They take an oath. Men in the Mafia take an oath. For example, one initiation oath they take is they prick the finger and then they rub blood on a small picture of a saint, reciting an oath in silent as the saint's picture is set on fire, and they stake their life on their loyalty to illegal deeds. One Mafia said, I had to pronounce an oath whereby I was to say that should I betray the organization, my flesh would burn like this saint. This is as the saint is blooding and burning in his bloody hand. And most of those mafioso guys, they don't live very long. They have a short lifespan because these oaths are taken seriously, and it's a bad choice to get in that. Ask what's the penalty for disobeying the principles? That same made man says death. So The Bloodstone assassins use violent tactics to intimidate rivals, drug dealers in Yonkers. Shaniel Mapp, known as one of the Bloodstone assassins, he took an oath, and swiftly, fearlessly, and deadly. For example, his phone had the oath that said, "I will stand firm on the face of adversity and seek refuge amongst the Bloodstone assassins, a blood set whose members are swift, fearless, and deadly." So he's taking an oath to be part of a deadly group. Not a good start. Not a good start. How about the Freemasons? Take an oath to become a Freemason. It involves, under no circumstances less than, well, it says, okay, to perform the same without hesitation myself. Okay, okay. In other words, they make all these outrageous promises, and then they make an oath under no less penalty than having my body severed in two, my bowels taken from thence and burned to ashes, and the ashes scattered before the four winds of heaven. So vile and wicked a wretch as I, should I ever knowingly violate my master mason's obligation. So help me God. So anyway, you don't want to take these kind of oaths. You don't want to take oaths that put a curse on your family either. Oaths of office for members of Congress, okay? Are they really representing the people? Are they following their oath? That's important to ask if you're one of them. If you're any one of these people, you need to be asking. You need to realize you will be held accountable because you're appealing to a higher court. And the day of reckoning will certainly come. So all of us need to be very careful and avoid oaths. Don't take them, is what Jesus said. But if you are going to take them, then you're going to be expected to follow the oath and be honorable. Officers in the military. That's why I'm saying this appeals. This appeal, it touches on many people. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. Okay. Well, you better be doing that. You better have integrity. That will be true and faithful allegiance. So, there you go. A lot of people are taking oaths. And it's serious business. It's very serious business. So if you want to read up on this to know what you're doing, read Matthew 5:33 to 37, because that's where it's covered. There you go. Just a few crazy thoughts on a few thoughts on some crazy ideas, taking some crazy oaths. God bless you, and good night from the Midnight Bible Study.